Inflation has created a difficult environment for most Americans, with auto workers dominating the headlines this month as they twist the arms of auto manufacturers to give them historically high raises to keep up. Something's got to give. Joining me live now is to discuss it, tax attorney and chairman of Americans for Fair Tax, Steve Hayes. Steve, good to see you, my friend.
Steve, it's always a great pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
All right, so look, they just failed, in the last hour to get this continuing resolution through. 21 Republicans voted no, including Nancy Mace and Matt Gaetz and a host of others. They said no. It's interesting that the Democrats say the Republicans are shutting down the government, but the Democrats all refuse to vote for a continuing resolution at all. You know, something about we're going to kill children and starve old people. The same old stuff that I've heard my entire life, right? It's the same rhetoric. It's the same nonsense. George W. Bush or whoever pushing grandma off a cliff. I remember that ad a few years ago. It's always the same thing, fear-mongering. And you know what? If the government shuts down, Steve, I don't even know that I will notice. I don't even know that I'm going to care. Where do you want to begin?
I think that the idea that wanting to get some logic and financial stability into a budget process that has now been considered ludicrous by the Democrats and Republicans, it just tells us where we've gotten to, Steve. We've gotten to a place where nobody seems to have any concern about responsibility. And in many respects, you know, we do better when the government isn't in operation than we do when it is. The obvious problem is that because Biden has a fair amount of control of what he closes and what he doesn't, that a lot of people are going to find, and in you and I, unless we're going to take somebody to the Smithsonian, probably aren't going to be bothered. But there are going to be people who are trying to get applications for passports processed. We're going to be bothered. They're going to be, frankly, I think the Democrats, and particularly President Biden, will use this as an opportunity to make it as tough as he can so he can blame these idiotic Republican right-wingers who have the audacity to insist upon any kind of budget. That's what we're heading into right now. And I think we all knew it was going to come to this. I don't think he really thought it wasn't going to shut down, and we'll still get stays shut down. But it's going to affect most people, not at all. It's going to affect
Steve,
some
here's
people.
The thing. Here's the thing. People come down on both sides of this. I get that, but the reduction of spending, border security, they were all in this, and it was only for 30 days. I understand that the Republican holdouts, they want 12 individual bills. They're not going to get that. Kevin McCarthy, the argument is, should have stayed in more in August. Maybe that's true. We're not here now. And is anybody really going to notice the government shutdown? No, the Democrats are going to try to make political hay on it. But I want to go back to something you mentioned there with the auto workers just briefly, because here's something that people need to understand. When I was a kid, when I was growing up, and you'd have one of these auto strikes walk out, it was big news. It would lead Walter Cronkite every night. It was big news. I couldn't find it on CNN.com today. I couldn't, and they just forced walkouts in 3 more plants, right? 3 more plants just walked out. Right. Sean Fain, the president of the UAW, forced them to walk out. But here's why. In 1979, there were 1.5 million members of the United Auto Workers Union. A good portion of those were rank and file, people hourly working at Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler. Today, the total number of UAW members is 400,000, and only 150,000 of those, just under, work in these car factories. They are a quarter of what they used to be. They don't have the political clout anymore. So why on earth are we headed down this road? Donald Trump was exactly right when he appeared in Michigan. If you stay on this EV road, there won't be an auto industry in America. The way we're going, it'll only have 90,000 employees because EVs take less labor to build. I mean, there are things here that people need to know the truth about, and that's one of them, Steve.
It is totally the truth. This is their last hurrah. This is the chance that they have before the EV revolution really is forced on us to try to get things like to ensure maintain benefits for retirees, benefit packages for people that are put out of work, and they're going to try to make the deal that they're going to keep series, which should be shut down, frankly, when they go to EVs. But instead of moving them to places like Chattanooga, like Volkswagen did, where it's right to work, they're going to try to make them redo a factory. In fact, Ford's already agreed to, so that they can produce electric cars there. Honestly, Steve, I think it's their last hurrah. This is their last to try to protect some of their industry. And that's why the strike is happening. But you're right. It affects
right, but there is
so
no
few
protecting the
people
industry. That's the point that I'm making. The unions are beholden to the Democrats, who are demanding a transition to EVs, which necessarily will reduce the workforce by 40%, taking them from 146,000 hourly workers in the car factories today to less than 90,000. UPS has 4 times that many people just at that company. The auto workers have no political clout left at that point. We've been rammed down a road for vehicles that people don't want. They can't afford. The people that work in the factories can't afford these things. Nobody wants them. They don't have reliability, and somehow we're going to save the planet on all this nonsense. People know better. The Democrats damn well know better, Steve, and yet here we are.